VSD, the ventricular septal defect?
Okay, so VSD is basically a hole in the wall between the two main pumping chambers. If it's large enough, the fetal echo sees that gap clear as day. For a significant VSD, detection is superb. You're picking it up 80 to 90% of the time prenatally.
Because the problem is just right there,
Yeah.
a clear structural anomaly.
Exactly, it's localized. But then you have something like Tetralogy of Fallot, or TOF, which is much more complex.
Right. TOF isn't just one hole. It's more like a whole 4 different issues at once.
It's the classic complex CHD. You've got the VSD hole, a misplaced aorta, a thickened heart wall, and this is the crucial part, a skinny or obstructed pulmonary artery. That's the pipe to the lungs.
And the fetal echo can spot that whole combination on a moving target.
It can. It flags that distinct combination. We can see the tight lung pipe and the other structural changes at the same time. The rates are solid, catching 60 to 80% of cases.
So what's the tech improvement here, the 2025 upgrade?
It's the emphasis on using color Doppler flow imaging. This isn't just looking at the structure anymore.
You're looking at the blood flow itself.
Exactly. It's like a zoom lens for blood flow dynamics. You can see how restricted or fast the blood is moving through that skinny lung pipe.
Yeah.
It makes the diagnosis much, much clearer.
That makes perfect sense. Analyzing function, not just architecture. Okay, so VSD and TOF have pretty high detection rates. Defect, ASD, as the, why is that one so much trickier?
ASD is a hole between the upper chambers, the atria. And it's tricky because the fetal heart naturally has an opening there.
Oh, right.
It's a shunt to bypass the lungs, which aren't being used yet. It's supposed to close right after birth.
So you're looking for an abnormal hole in a place that's supposed to have a hole.
Precisely. Spotting an abnormally large or malpositioned hole is really difficult. So historically, the prenatal hit rate was only, 50 to 70%.
So how has the 2025 playbook fixed that? What's the leap in capability?
The game changer is AI. It's the integration of specialized AI algorithms right into the echo analysis software.
Okay, so the machine is helping the expert.
These systems are trained on millions of images. They're not necessarily looking for the ASD itself. They're looking for tiny deviations in flow velocity, subtle geometric things that the human eye might just miss. It's acting as a second, incredibly precise pair of eyes in real time.
And that boosts the detection rate.
Significantly. With these AI tweaks in experienced hands, the prenatal ASD detection rate is pushed up to around 85%.
Wow.
And that really matters. ASDs can lead to serious issues later in life if there are missed heart rhythm problems, pulmonary hypertension. Catching it early means you can plan, you can monitor, it reduces future risk.
That's a huge win for long-term health. Okay, so the imaging layer gives us this high-def picture, but once we see the hole, the next question is always, why?
Why is it there?
And that takes us right into the second pillar, the genetic layer.
Right. We move from the physical anatomy to the baby's actual blueprint. If a heart defect is found, the next step is immediately genetic analysis.
Because these CHDs can be linked to bigger syndromes.
Exactly. They're often the physical sign of an underlying syndrome. A classic one is the 22q11 deletion, which is highly linked to both TOF and VSD.
So what are the tools for investigating that link, and when do they happen?
The first, earliest, and least invasive tool is NIPT. That's non-invasive prenatal testing.
And this can be done really early.
As early as 10 weeks, with just a simple blood draw from the mother.
That technology is just incredible, pulling the baby's DNA right out of the mother's blood.
It is.
Yeah.
NIPT checks for fragments of the baby's DNA, and it can flag common chromosomal issues, these microdeletions like 22q. As a screening tool, it's powerful. It flags these issues in about 95% of cases.
And it's pretty accessible now.
More and more. It costs around $200 to $500, and insurance is increasingly covering it.
But NIPT is a screening tool. It's not a final diagnosis.
Correct.
So if the ultrasound shows a really complex heart defect, but the NIPT comes back negative, you still need to dig deeper.
That's right. For a definitive diagnosis or a look at specific genes, we move to the invasive procedures. Amniocentesis, or CVS.
And these happen a bit later.
Yes, around 15 to 18 weeks.
Yeah.
They do carry a small risk, but they give us actual fetal cells from the amniotic fluid or the placenta.
And what do those cells let you do?
They allow for full exome sequencing. We're not just counting chromosomes anymore. We are reading the individual genetic code.
A true deep dive.
And this IDs very specific gene hits. For example, new 2025 research is highlighting specific genes related to cilia, those little hair-like structures on cells that seem to increase the risk for TOF. Finding that detail is crucial.
So what's the overall yield? If a listener is going into one of these meetings, how often does genetics actually explain the CHD?
When you combine everything, we find a clear genetic cause, a syndrome, or a known mutation in about 20 to 30% of all heart defects.
Which leaves a huge chunk, 70 to 80%, that are considered isolated.
Exactly. And that's where the real cutting edge of the 2025 playbook comes in. We're talking about whole genome sequencing, or WGS.
WGS. This is the deepest analysis possible.
It is. It reads the entire instruction manual, not just the chapters we already know to check. It's in advanced trials now, but its role is already being formalized.
So why is it such a game changer if we already have exome sequencing?
Well, the exome is only about 2% of the genome. It's the part that codes for proteins. WGS reads everything, and its most transformative finding is its catch rate for those isolated holes.
The ones without a known syndrome attached. What is WGS finding there?
The current trial data is showing a 17 to 22% incremental catch rate for those isolated cases.
Wait, so nearly 1 in 5 cases that were previously just called random bad luck?
Actually have a detectable single gene mutation somewhere else in the genome, or a rare structural variant that only WGS can find. It completely shifts the entire counseling conversation.
That is a staggering jump in our understanding. I have to imagine managing that much data requires some serious tech.
Oh, absolutely. We rely heavily on AI to crunch that massive data set. And the AI doesn't just spot the variants faster, it helps predict the defect's potential severity based on what we know about that gene.
Incredible. Okay, so we've covered the picture from imaging and the why from sequencing, but some things can still be missed prenatally. Let's talk about the final layer, the post-birth safety net.
Right. This is the net that ensures nothing is missed and confirms everything under real-world conditions. The most immediate screening is the newborn echo.
And that's becoming standard for all babies.
In specialized centers, yes. It's done in the first day or two, a quick 15-minute zap. It catches any prenatal misses, especially those subtle ASDs. The detection rate here is nearly 100% for big defects like VSD and TOF, and about 90% for ASDs.
And beyond the echo, there are even simpler mandatory checks.
Yes, the pulse ox screen. It's mandatory everywhere. A simple free check with a heel prick and a finger clip to measure oxygen saturation.
And low oxygen can be a sign of a heart issue.
It's a rapid indicator of circulation problems, like the TOF blues. If the numbers are low, it triggers an immediate cardiac consult.
And if a doctor hears a murmur,
An EKG is ordered immediately. It's a quick trace of the heart's electrical rhythm. It confirms if a structural issue is causing a problem, or if it's just a benign murmur, which most are.
okay, let's circle back to speed. If a syndrome is suspected right after birth, how fast can you get that genetic confirmation in 2025?
This is one of the most reassuring advancements. Rapid exome sequencing is available from a simple blood spot. If the team needs to confirm a diagnosis to guide surgery or medication, they can have an answer in under 48 hours.
From guesswork to a precise plan in 2 days.
It's transformative.
So if we pull this all together, what's the bottom line for the listener?
The bottom line of the 2025 strategy is this comprehensive, layered defense. It's echo for the picture, sequencing for the why. For most families, a definitive plan is in place, either at the 20-week mark or immediately at birth.
And that early knowledge just reframes the entire experience. If you get a flag prenatally, it's not a medical emergency at delivery.
Not at all.
The delivery is planned at a heart center, the surgical team is ready, the whole approach is streamlined. It eliminates the trauma of a surprise.
It replaces scares with plans, and that is the greatest benefit of this entire approach.
This brings up a really important final question, building on that WGS data. We know whole genome sequencing is showing a 17 to 22% incremental yield for isolated defects. Considering that powerful data, what are the implications for the future of routine genetic screening? I mean, at what point does WGS move from a trial technology to a standard, expected part of the CHD playbook for all pregnancies?
That inflection point is coming much sooner than I think a lot of people expect. When you can explain and prepare for nearly a fifth of so-called random diagnoses, the pressure to make that technology routine becomes immense. The infrastructure is catching up to the science.
Food for thought indeed. Thank you for diving deep with us into the 2025 playbook for CHD detection.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next